Yeah, let me get something for my. This be the one time my throat get too dry.
Some water. Hi, everybody. This is Milani Douglas from the National Museum of Women in the Arts. And today we present the Curative Collective, a conversation with Sharina Ashanti Christmas. The Curative Collective is a part of our project, Reclamation, that's in partnership with the Family Arts Museum and 1015 Multimedia. Please get a chance when you can to go to our site and see the work that Sharina has put into the site. But today we're going to talk about Sharina's work, who she is, what she's up to, her community involvement, and her intergenerational approach to her practice and her community approach as well. Good morning. Well, good afternoon.
Good
How are
afternoon.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. No complaints. I am good.
Good, good. Well, I would love to start. There's so many places that we could start. But I want to start with this film that you are almost finished. So tell us some about it and what are you working on?
So last July, I traveled with my youth from New Generation Scholars underneath my nonprofit Muse 360. We traveled to study in St. Croix last
Mhm.
July. And the film actually was something that I know that I probably discussed with you before, but it was about a spirit coming to me and leaving me. And so I had this idea of, well, I'm in St. Croix, best opportunity. I mean, I have several filmmakers here. So one of the filmmakers, Jassy Mitchell, who is now at the Tisch School at NYU, shot shot the film for me, and I directed it. But I was the main character. So it's really about a spirit that comes from, from above, comes from, this universe and comes down to Earth as a mortal, and is making her way to kind of become mortal and kind of rebirth like beings in the space, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
basically, what you see is a short film, but what you see, we found this amazing location with this very dangerous mountain, but I had to climb this mountain. I had this costume on, and basically you see this being that has now landed, and then she goes to the water, and then then it kind of transitions into you seeing her with the young beings that have been birthed
Mhm.
in this sunlight. And the interesting thing about it, the words that I wrote for it are really reminiscent to me of experiences that I've had, and also just a nod to understanding that spirits come to us for a reason.
Mhm.
He has told me before,
Mhm.
and also just spirits come to you for a reason, and then there's other things that you birth out of it. So it's not necessarily a being all the time, but it could also be, you're birthing a new feeling, you're birthing a new concept, you're birthing a new way of living, you're birthing something that is now being passed on to someone else. So you see that in the film. The last day that we filmed, it was like the sun was at this highest because we had been there a
Mhm.
whole week, and it was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So it's a lot of water. Um, it's a lot of shifting of the wind. So it really kind of deals with that, and it is a nod almost to some of the Orishas, particularly Oya, because the night that we filmed, the sun was going down. It was windy. It wasn't rainy yet, but it was definitely getting to that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the film that it's called. Actually, it's called Rebirth.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and Oya deals with rebirth,
yeah,
death, regeneration, and rebirth. So that's awesome.
generation.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's really good, and we have some music that we're working on that will be a part of that. And I have yet to. The thing that I'm working on now is just figuring out the voiceover
Mm.
part for the transition from like this nighttime, this like sunsetting scene, to this scene where the sun is at its highest.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, with that, because I really wanted to start with this work because you are so magnificent in helping youth and other people bring their projects to fruition. And so, as watching your journey, it's always beautiful to see when you're working all of your work, and then to see this other part where you're working on your own projects to be able to get your own thoughts out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new thing for me, I would say, over the last. I mean, I've been manifesting and really marinating on these projects for like at least 10 years, but to actually be able to do it, it's and see it come to life is very, very healing for me. Like all of my work centers around healing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't center around just the capacity that we all have to do, because I do believe that we all have an innate capacity to do. We're talented, we're amazing, we're all those things, right? But for me, it really comes down to how do I heal through this life that we live, this mortal life that we live, and how do I connect it to spirit? So everything that I do, all of the work that I create comes down to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. What in this project, what was as you move towards the end of it, what did you find to be the most healing aspect for you? Are you still discovering that?
No, I think that the most healing aspect is to understand that, through death is not something to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not something that it's not something that you can control technically. It's something that is to be. And in that will of spirit has to kind of move through you. So even in creating the images, I had like a few other scenes that I wanted to shoot and this, then the other, but it honestly just came together the way that it was going to come together. And that is just really allowing the will of the spirit to move. And so that has been difficult in my life, just accepting that some things that I want to be the way that you want your life to be, the way that you want it to be perceived or whatever, it's not going to always be that way. And there is a reason, for me, like I said, a lot of my work is centered around spirit. So because of that, it really presents that opportunity to swell and also to be fluid and also to be, still at some point. So yeah, no, I mean, definitely it's constantly when I watch it, it's always okay, because I'm the person that was in it. So, and I saw the vision, but it's like being able to be seen through the lens of Josie. Kirby Griffin is the colorist on it on the film. So it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And there's so much more to come. It's so much, because last year during the pandemic, we actually started shooting pieces of it at Sunspot Studios, in Baltimore. We started shooting it like probably in March. We probably started shooting it. The pandemic was full throttle. Kirby had me out in the woods. Bobby Rush was one of the characters in it. She actually comes to me as a physical spirit that you see. So I've been really playing around with the images around spirit coming to you, that you can see, that you can feel, being a spirit, and also that aloneness, because like it's me by myself, but it's always like you're not alone, like you're never alone. So it's like really that idea of always playing with that. So we'll see what comes about, but yeah, it's been
I love it. Love it. So next month you're taking your youth to the Geechee Gullah Islands.
Yes.
And to me, with this work that you did in St. Croix and the spirits, and also being able to deal with like the things that you see, but the things you can't see, this is a place that has such a historical significance for Black people globally, whether they know it or not. It has this historical significance. So tell us about that trip and also your work with the youth.
Okay, yeah, sure. So New Generation Scholars is a program under Muse 360. So I founded it in 2007. So we travel internationally to study the African diaspora, and it is really rooted in a place of African leadership. So when we study the African diaspora, I mean, we're studying obviously here in Baltimore, but when we travel, we try to travel to places that really are preserving that history. And so, many folks, in our community talk about the Gullah Geechee. I mean, even me growing up, the Gullah Geechee, my mother had me watching Daughters of the Dust, and I was we were doing that in like our rites of passage program. And I've been to South Carolina. I have been, and it's really interesting. Even I have friends from South Carolina, and even their language and the way they speak, even in the contemporary sense, is like, I'm like, do you guys know how beautiful it is to have that, know? But for them growing up in the South, they're like, oh no, this is country, this is that, but it really is something that is beautiful. So one of our professors, Dr. Jessica Johnson, she's giving 2 lectures to the scholars. They were focusing on the history, which is way more than I even knew, of some of the indigenous history of that area, as well as some of the Africans that came there. And there's some really unique stories that I definitely would be willing to share once we kind of iron it all out, but specifically around how Black folks were able to preserve their land. They actually, there's We talk about the 40 acres and a mule. They actually did have 40 acres. A lot of those freed Africans or free Africans had 40 acres. We talked a lot about the cultural preservation through art and through handwork, through basket weaving, the way that they prepared the food and all of those things. And also there is an African village down there now. It's it's about an hour out from Charleston, but they actually do a lot of rites of passage work as well. So we're going down the weekend of Juneteenth, and it's an opportunity, really for the scholars to continuously see themselves, and to see themselves really in the Western Hemisphere is really important, so they can understand that the migration of African people, whether they be free or enslaved, the level of perseverance that they go through and that they've been able to maintain over these years, whether they know it or not, has been something that we can actually use today. And that's really important. Like when we went to St. Croix, for example, I was trying to find some food. I was going to a supermarket, but I didn't want to go to the typical supermarket. We stumbled upon a farm and we wanted to buy watermelon. And because he had a whole bunch of watermelon, and he was like, "No, the rain is coming." And it was, as I say, his name is actually Baba Dale, but he said, "The rain is coming." No, he was just very stern. And I was like, "Come on." And his wife was like, "Just give these children some watermelon." Do you know that we stayed there the entire day because the rain had passed? He actually took us through. He's growing lemongrass. He's growing basil. He's growing spinach. He has tons of livestock, all of these things. But he had coconut. He was cutting fresh coconut for the young people. So it's like the young people had this moment to just be. No cell phones, you know what I mean? They weren't videotaping everything. But when you allow the young people to just go out and be, especially when they grow up in the inner city, it really transforms their lives, and also an opportunity to be with elders. So we do plan on meeting with some elders when we go down there. That's something that I really, really drive home, because a lot of times we're looking for answers, and the answers are with our elders. The stories are with our elders. And so like I said, going to St. Croix, and like I said, just looking for fruit, looking for, food for the kids so I could cook. I come upon Baba Dale. He said no. And then his wife was like, "Give him a chance." And next thing you know, we have a whole basket of stuff. He's making us taste like I said, making us taste crops that he's growing. He talked about the importance of agriculture in preserving our Africanness. So here we are in St. Croix. As Black Americans living particularly in North America, we forget that just down south, I'm talking about in the islands, that there's a lot of preservation. There's a lot of connectedness that we can have with one another. There's a lot of commonality. And I think that they also learn from us too, like, okay, because there is a misconception about Black Americans, particularly living in North America, specifically in the United States, about whether we're really connected to the Africanness anymore. So again, it's just a way to preserve that with the young people. It's a way to get them to understand that this is a part of who you are. The more you know who you are, the more you'll feel like you are full. Like you won't feel like you're missing anything, because there's nothing you're missing, because our ancestors have shown us everything. They have done so much. So that's part of like how we choose some of the places and some of the unique stories that come out of it too.
I love it. And tell us about, there was a show, one that your students did recently. Can you tell us some of that? And then we'll get into the show that you recently produced as well.
So I think you're talking about the Women's Focus show. I think they had March 27th. They actually produced that on their own. I was so grateful. I was like, whoa, blown away. But yeah, so the young people and New Generation Scholars produced a show called, I think it was called like She Been Doing It or something. And, they did presentations on various women that they acknowledge and that they love. Like they actually honored Lucille Clifton, God rest her soul. They
honored you.
They honored me. I was shocked. All my alumni students came out. I was crying up a storm. Mama Kabidi Ajanku, founder of Sankofa, and she's an artist as well. They honored her. Belfina, who's one of the teachers, she does the Womanist Reader. They also did that. One of our scholars actually wrote a poem, and one of our other scholars danced to the poem, and they actually shot that video in the gallery of the other show that I produced for Necessary Tomorrows, with Kirby's Draped in Dark. So it was great. They did a wonderful, phenomenal job. I can't leave out, like I said, the leadership of the team, Belfina Yawan, who's an amazing artist. And she was in Reclamation. She was in my Reclamation dinner. And just really being able to step up to help, because that's really an important thing. All the work that I do, I have been doing it alone, but I'm not alone. And to have other folks that are willing to work with the young people and make sure that they understand the process of producing something like that, and also the process of understanding of, being prepared and making sure you have everything. And I don't have to be the only one to say it. I love it. So yeah, that was March 27th, and that was wonderful. And then earlier that month, I opened two shows. I opened We Make Do What We Got, which was a group show that was beyond my expectations. Amazing group show. I actually had two pieces in the show. So the visual work that I do is assemblage. And I had two pieces in the show. And then I had other artists, Megan Lewis. I had Nia June, who's a poet. I put her words on the wall, which is very unique. Because a lot of times, poets, it's like in a book or something like that, or they perform. So that was wonderful. Shoshana Rogers is one of my scholars who was in the show. She's a photographer and a multimedia collage artist. I had Diamond Fisher, who's a photographer. Mostly everybody multimedia nowadays. I had Ashley Wilder, like I said, and myself. And then Kirby Griffin, who's a dear friend of mine, actually creates masterpieces with the Black body. I don't even know how else to say it. And so we put some of his pieces in that were created in early 2020 and 2019, and then also in later part of 2020 as well. So mostly, but we put, it was called Draped in Dark, and it was a collection of images of 4 beautiful Black bodies. What I love about Kirby's work is that, and I wish I would have given you guys some images to show, but he really has a way of highlighting the Black body and elongating it and making it almost mystical, because you've seen the work, so you know how it is. I mean, a lot of times photographers, you see photography, oh, that's a good photo. But for him, he said that, he used to get critiques because he's self-taught about like, oh, you didn't show the eyes. And he was like, I know I didn't show the eyes. Like, it might be just like the face. It might just be the nose. It might just be the chin or the shoulder. He believes in radiating the skin as well. So like, there's no muted, like he's like, it doesn't make sense to have muted colors with Black skin. He's like, what's going on here? So, but no, just really, it's a lot of fluidity in his work. It was a lot of movement in his work. So those pieces were photography mounted on blackboard, but the pieces were, as you saw, they were about 6 feet. Some of them were 7 feet, so it really allows you to be enveloped in the space. So yeah, I've opened 2 shows early March, and then they closed April 17th. We actually had a wonderful Black women's marketplace, which I definitely need to do again. We need to, because it was so successful, and we had performances. We want to bring the community together through different mediums is really, really important. And it's not, especially if you empower. Now, I don't want to say empower, because I don't believe in power. I don't believe in empowerment. I really believe in, you taking power back, but allowing folks, or at least, creating a space where people can be powerful and see their power and organize, you know what I mean? So that really kind of happened. Diamond was the co-curator of the marketplace, and, I supported her in how she wanted it to be, because that's what she does, and so like coming together in all of our talents, it works, it can work. And people don't believe that collaboration can work in that way, but it really can. You just have to like really provide that space for people to be themselves. But yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. It was definitely, I'm very proud of the show.
Good. So, and anyone who, if you haven't been able to tell so far, Sharayna is a beautiful collaborator, artist in her own right. If you want to find out about her work, make sure that you follow her on all of her social media handles, so you can find her. If we could put up her social media real quick, and then be able to also define some of her projects as well. So from Rain Queen, and then also see New Generation Scholars, and be able to see Muse 360, so and Necessary Tomorrow. So it's just, I love just how you're able to get all of this work done through your collaboration.
Yeah, it's a lot. We'll be like, if I got another handle, but yes.
No, but they're all worth going to. So how can people, if they want to support the work that you're doing, how can they support you?
So definitely follow us on social media. So particularly, I want to highlight the young people, because I have to say that the young people have been doing phenomenal work. So the young people are traveling to the Gullah Geechee, and we're raising money. We're trying to raise $10,000. So the young people have come up with a raffle where you can, a raffle I think is from like $1 to $5, and you can win a whole photo shoot with one of the photographers. You can win artwork, but definitely donate to Muse 360. You can go to our website, muse360.org, or go to any of the social media channels. You can definitely donate, but we really need that investment from our community so that we are self-sustaining. It is very difficult to do African-centered work that is built from a creative foundation, and just rely on contributed revenue. It's really not, it's not sustainable, but definitely I do believe that the community could help by just donating. No amount is too small. And just stay in touch, And also, you can support by letting the scholars know that you support young people. I always say that no matter what work we do in the arts or whatever, we have to think about the young people, whether it's your own children, whether it's, other people's children. Like, that is our future. Those are the folks that are hopefully, knock on wood, going to take care of us, right? So, and when we look at society today, there has been a breakdown in that intergenerational gap. So, letting them know that you support them, that you're willing to listen, that you're willing to let them assert their power in the way that they see fit. So, those affirmations are really important. Affirmations and also donations, all the Asians. We'll
Bring them together.
Bring them together. Affirmations and donations. But yeah, we need all of it. It's very, very important. And like I said, they're doing phenomenal work that I'm extremely proud of, and I back 1,000,000%. So.
Well, I am always proud to hear about your work and always excited, and also to present in any way, shape, form, or fashion for people to be able to see what they're doing. Please check out Sharayna on all of her platforms and see what she's doing with the youth. And I'm so glad that you could be a part of Reclamation. I'm just glad that you could participate in it.
I'm like, I think I made that fish one more time. I think you had it because that's the time.
Yes, I did.
I was like,
it was so good.
I was thinking about that fish. I got some Thai basil too, so I might have to put that on the grill.
Well, $2.95 is a short highway.
No, it was so good. I was like, oh wow, especially the Thai basil. It's stuffed inside the snapper.
Mm-hmm. It was so good.
It was good.
Yes. And if you are feeling so kind to share any part of the recipe.
No, yeah, I'll definitely share the recipe, of course.
Please do. But yeah, so when you are looking at her submission to Reclamation and you're like, oh, I feel like I should feel jealous because I'm not there, you should, because it's definitely was all the things. It was good food, good conversation.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautifully done in such an intimate moment. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And we are glad to have you. And the door is always open. We'll be talking soon. And please follow Sharayna and support her projects. The kids are they're going real soon. So let's get these.
A month from today, which is great. May 16th. Yeah, June 16th. We go the 16th to the 20th.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, it is a pleasure talking to you, and we will keep posted on your projects. And thank you so much, Sharayna.
All right. Thanks, Milani. Bye.
All right.